What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day of the Daily Grind. I'm your host, 30NSG, and on today's show, we're going to be talking about what we didn't talk about yesterday. We missed out on the physical copies of the games that really answer when nobody owns anything, so we're talking about that today, which we were supposed to talk about yesterday. We're going to talk about Epic Games CEO. Says the game industry is undergoing a general change, says Epic CEO Tim Sweeney. So we'll talk about that today. We're also going to talk about Star Wars, just Star Wars in general. We were going to talk about Star Wars Outlaws yesterday, and we kind of got into it a little bit yesterday with the Assassin's Creed article talking about how claimed that Star Wars Outlaws only sold 1 million units in the first month. So it made me start thinking, right? It was like, should I talk about Star Wars as a brand damaged? So we're going to talk about the 1 million copy article. We're also going to jump into an article where 6 days ago, Daisy Ridley talked about how the problem was men that had problems with it, which I guess is not false, right? And then I started thinking, I was like, well, let me go look at, since Disney purchased it and what they started doing with the brand, what happened to it. So we're going to go into a more in-depth, is Star Wars brand damaged? If you like what I do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. We cover multiple stories in the morning with live chat. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We also do podcasts on this channel. We also do gameplay. We've been playing Shattered Space. Monday, Tuesday, tonight, we're going to be playing some Borderlands 2 with Sarge. So come on up for those. Those are actually good time. What's going on, Travis? What's going on, East Vandal? What's going on, PS5? Eclipse, Roic, Casualties of Gaming, Wonder Rose, Salty, good morning, Robert Jones, Scotty B, More Cat's Den, what's going on? Travis says, it may be crazy but it may be crazy saying this, but I don't think Outlaws didn't sell because it was a bad, but since Disney ruined it, and since Ubisoft has zero faith, and it was also a combo of things which overshadowed. I mean, I think the brand itself is struggling big time. These are things that you actually have to admit, right? I mean, we'll look at it a little bit later. We'll look at the shows. We'll look at the amount of money each film brought in, okay? So there's massive problems with the Star Wars brand since since Disney has taken the Star Wars and turned it into what they think it was, right? So that's right. Brainchild says, yep, all kinds of men, even whim men that ruined it. That's right. So let's start off with the physical copies of games. Okay, let's start off with this one right here. Physical copies of games, really the answer when nobody owns anything. Now, we talked about what California was doing with a law on Thursday night's podcast, Generation X Gaming. If you guys didn't see that, go check that out on Thursday. Okay, so what California is doing is that they're not protecting the consumers from the companies. What they're doing is just making sure that when you buy a digital good, that you actually own the digital good or not own the digital good because when you purchase a digital good, it says you're buying. And they want to make sure that you're not miscued by saying, well, if it says buy, then you own it. Say that you're giving a license to them. And that's not the problem that we have. The problem is we don't want to not own anything. Like, we like our physical stuff. If we buy it, you make a product, I give you money, you give me product, right? I own that product, that one thing, right? I can do what I want with it. I can use it as a Frisbee, I can use it as a coaster. I can do what I want with it. As long as I have a piece of gear, if it's a DVD player, a PC, something where I can take the disc, stick it in, or the digital stuff, I can just turn it on 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and it works. It should work, right? That's the issue that the consumers have. What's going on, Alien? Okay, so let's talk about this, right? So if you like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning to noon Eastern. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. So are physical copies of games really the answer when nobody owns anything? Okay, this article comes from IGN. It says, last week, there came news that the new law that was being introduced in California, which forbids digital storefronts from using the words purchase and buy. When it comes to downloads, reflecting the reality is such a transition, or a transaction, are merely licensed and don't actually involve any kind of permanent ownership. The intentions of this law is simple. As we move even closer to all digital future, which, again, it doesn't matter if you and I want something physical. If the industry decides to change it to digital, then that's what you're getting. It's going to be very, very hard unless there's companies like limited run games that make it have a physical copy. Okay, so when it comes to downloads reflecting the reality, such as transactions and merely license, okay, so important, it's very sure that customers are aware of the money that they hand over doesn't grant them an unfiltered and timeless access into the things like movies, albums, and video games. A small print clearly states that the publisher can remove access at any time. Okay, and there have been cases where it's also items have been scrubbed from digital libraries for people who have paid good money for them. Okay, so some have already argued that this is a law, whitelist welcome, doesn't go far enough to protect the consumers, which is true. But it's hard to see how many legislations around the online purchases could deal the events such as publishers going bust or the media licensing issues, removing the product from active distribution. It's not likely creating a physical item. It remains like tangible. But if the company's behind has a long since gone bust, digital content has also hosted online, which is also that comes at a cost. Instead, this law should hopefully convince that those who have grown up with digital distribution, and there's also an alternative, physical games aren't totally dead yet. Most AAA releases still get physical versions, and companies such as Limited Run Games and Super Deluxe turn what you could be a digital-only release into real items, although often with painfully low production runs, and also a higher price, right? So, of course, embracing physical games also means dealing with having to keep up track on where the discs or the cartridge is or any given time, and they also might even have the actual leave your house to buy them. Although, some are arguing that the shopping trip elements of gaming, which is often bonds games to particular places, is something we should all seek to return to. And what they're talking about here is like going to a midnight release or going to a function where you actually have physical games and people come together, right? People, which is funny to me, people like going to groups and hangouts and they want to be accepted, right? And gamers like to go to places where they were buying video games or arcades back in the day before even that, because when you went to an arcade, you knew that the people in the arcade were all like you, right? That you were all playing video games. You all had that in common. When you went to GameStop and saw somebody, you all had that commonality of video games. Okay, now you don't get that anymore. There's no interaction anymore. It's just on chat forums, and there's no faces, right? It's me talking, and all of you don't have any faces, and anyone can say anything or be an asshole or whatnot, and that's just the way it is now. Okay. It says, however, even the approach isn't without these issues. Many modern games, especially on the Switch, ship without all the game's data on the game card. The exception is that the rest of the game will also download by the end user when the first loaded up and connect to the internet. Likewise, there are many other games which change dramatically over time, thanks to patches and content updates. Therefore, the version you get on the disc at launch often doesn't represent the full game a year down the line. Ain't that the truth? We talk about this all the time, where games come out, and regardless if it's broke or buggy, it's not even the full game, right? You're getting a game day one at full price, and you're waiting for patch 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 8.0, 10.0. We're listening. We're going to fix the game, right? Whatever it is. And then 1 year later, for majority of games, it's a much better experience because they're rushing these games out the door before they're ready to cook, and then they fix them as they go. So it's a much better product after the fact. So this is even more reason I tell people, don't pre-order your games. Don't buy day one. Don't buy week one. Don't buy month one, because if you wait and buy it down the road, you're paying less and you get more. Okay? Taking all this into account, there's also gaming future, which is also tethered to an online experience. Without that, or with or without Outlaws, which makes it clear that it doesn't actually own anything. So what's the solution? Okay, the recent shutdown of 3DS and Wii U eShops gives us some insight. When Nintendo pulled the plug, therefore removed access to hundreds of games available across both platforms, it proved to be all justification of some people need to hack their hardware to obtain software, and they're also previously paid for by downloading it from the internet. Such practices is rightly frowned upon by many within the gaming world, but others will argue passionately that it is simply a case of the community preserving what the industry won't. We've already seen quite clearly that the game industry as a whole simply isn't interested in making sure that the history is preserved in any way, shape, or form. They don't care about museums. They don't care about any of that stuff. They just make a product, crumple it up, throw it away. We really don't care. I would also go as far, the article says, as without piracy, many digital exclusives would be lost forever. I really wished it wasn't the case, but it is. Looking even further back into history, without the piracy or preservation, it would also have lost access to countless titles across the console, computers, arcade, and handheld devices. So as a consumer, we're a bit in a weird spot right now. All right? This means that the vast majority of the population is happy relinquishing their ownership in favor of instant movie and music and streaming. But the case of both of those industries, the ability to buy a physical disc means that you purchase and can be truly permanent. Okay, you can still buy a physical media disc to own that movie, right? You can still buy a physical disc to own that artist for music, okay? But the industry is getting less and less, for the gaming industry, is pulling that away faster than the other two, right? So it's missing out on the full experience and only on the original release. Now, games are different due to ever-changing nature of online updates and fixes, which means that the physical purchases certainly offer some degree of performance in terms of ownership, and you might not always have the full experience. Games with significantly online modes are even more of an issue as they render entirely unplayable, unless the community steps in, of course, like a Star Wars Galaxies. What's another game? People are bringing back Marvel's Omega Heroes and stuff like that. Like, that's the consumers trying to keep those alive, right? So there isn't a silver bullet which solves this problem, but the aforementioned California law does at least go away to educating consumers about the rights when it comes to digital purchases. At the start, this is even not the ultimate solution, right? So what is the solution? Well, I'll tell you, it really is no solution for us, right? You either conform and buy the digital goods, or you stand strong and just want to buy the physical copy, okay? Or maybe you take it amongst yourselves to download something and put it on your a hard drive where they can't take it from you. And if it's an online game, maybe you hack it or something. There's ways around it. Obviously, I'm not saying this is what people need to do, but there are ways around it for people that want to do these things. Okay. The real thing is, though, that the companies don't want us to own anything. Hence why they're pushing towards the streaming platforms. Hence why PlayStation Plus exists. Hence why Game Pass exists. Hence why Nintendo, I forget what the Nintendo Online exists, okay? Why Amazon has Luna. Why Google had Stadia, okay? There's all of these things, and when I say it all the time, I say it doesn't matter if you or I want to keep that physical media. I only buy physical media. If the industry does the shift, if the industry decides to change, if the industry says to you, yeah, everything's digital, you have no choice. Your choice is either accept what's coming or don't play video games in the future, right? And then that's where it comes down to your moral, like, do I want to play video games? Well, that's not a big deal. I really miss video games, so I'm going to purchase the next game that comes out, and that's where they have you, okay? So in the future, you're not going to have a choice. It's just going to be a streaming service. Hence why the movies. It's so frustrating right now. Like, if you don't own a movie, it's super hard to find that movie. You have to go online. You got to go, where can I watch Short Circuit? Like, you want to just watch an old movie, okay? Short Circuit doesn't pop up anywhere, and then it'll be like, oh, well, it's on HBO Max, or it's on this platform, or it's on this thing. You could buy it on eBay. You could get it on YouTube, and you pay. But where do I own it? Where can I own it, okay? It makes it so hard. Same with music. Okay, is it on Spotify? Is it on iHeartRadio? Where can I get this thing to own a copy of it? With video games, it's becoming that way, right? Right now, third-party publishers are putting games everywhere, but there will be a time where consoles are the lesser of the market, and more will be digital and play anywhere. So the PlayStation Pluses, the Game Passes, the Lunas, you'll be able to play on any screen, anywhere, on a device or whatever. And then you'll have to wonder, well, here's the rumor, okay? The Batman Rocksteady game that they're potentially working on, okay? Rumors are that Sony might pick them up and make an exclusive just for PlayStation. So let's just take that example for a second, right? Let's say in the future now PlayStation 6 isn't a thing and Xbox Next is not a thing, but it's PlayStation Plus and then it's Game Pass. Well, they have the rights now and they only make it for PlayStation Plus. So now you can only play the digital version of Batman, next Batman game on PlayStation Plus, right? And nothing changes, right? Nothing changes. The only difference that changes is that there's no physical media anymore. There's no physical console anymore. It's all digital. And then they tell you where you're going to purchase it. So regardless if you wanted it or not, customers were going to have to get digital, and you're going to get forced to go down to that certain platform in streaming service. Take the console out of it, it'll just be the streaming platform itself. Okay. This is an issue. This will always be an issue, and the only way around it is for the small but few people out there that still want the physical medias. A game company like Limited Run Games, or what was the other one they talked about? There's Limited Run Games, and there's Super Deluxe, where you can get those physical copies made in small runs. But other than that, that's it. There is no consumer protection for us. We are the way of the dodo. The people that want physical goods when the companies decide to not make them anymore, that's it. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below in the live chat. If you like what I do, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. Robert Jones says, show your faces, fellow nerds. Travis says, friend got me early birthday present. Sorts because they wanted to play it together, but they got was that D4 and Vessel of Hatred bundle. Oh, the new Diablo DLC comes out today, right? Does it come out today? Come on, Water Bear. PS5 Blows says, yeah, if you play on PC, you have to deal with de novo sometimes. Yeah, there's a lot more games coming out where they're putting de novo on there. Kylo says, if that's the case, that's why laws have to be made to prevent it, right? But they're not making laws to prevent it. They're making laws to just tell us that, well, you actually don't own it, right? They're making a tab. Instead of saying buy, it's going to say rent, lease. You know what I mean? Dustin says, I like more digital. Sure. Until everything's digital and you own absolutely nothing. If you like not owning anything, then by all means, you know, this conversation is not really for you then, right? This is for people that want to own stuff. If you're okay with everyone just taking stuff from you and never owning anything again, congratulations. East Vandal says, write your legislators, gamers. Like, let's take what they're doing in the video game industry and the entertainment industry as far as movies, music, and imagine where you couldn't own a car. You're not allowed to own a car, okay? No one's allowed to purchase and own a car. You have to lease a car, okay? Imagine where you couldn't own a house. You're only allowed to rent a house because the industry decides that it doesn't want you to own and you can only rent. Okay? You wouldn't like that after a while. Machiavelli says, why PCs stopped selling physical copies? Because it was cheaper. See, when you used to go back in the day to like EB Games, there was Electronic Boutique. What was the other one? There was Electronic Boutique, and there was Babbage's. When you used to go into those stores, there was tons and tons and tons of boxes for PC and a very small section for console. And then as PC just said, wait a minute, we don't have to make discs anymore? Okay. And then they started going away. Now you don't really... Like, you can still go to Walmart and buy like a World of Warcraft copy. But 99.8% of PC games are all on Steam. And that's the frog in the pot being boiled, right? And now they're doing it for console. And I think it's more reasonable for people that own a PC because people in the past didn't just buy a PC to game. They bought a PC for other things and they gamed, right? Where people that bought a console were just buying a console to game. Ray says, when Xbox makes games cloud exclusive, it's over. But you're already seeing it. You're already seeing similar things happening, right? Where now they put everything in Game Pass, but now they're segregating what sections, right? You only can get this in the standard edition. You can only get this in the ultimate edition. You can only get this in the... If they make a family edition. Same thing. Robert Jones says, if you have to make an account to play a current gen games, does a physical disc even help? Well, that's what the article was saying. Just online in general. Does it really even matter if you have a physical copy, okay, of a disc where it online, or a year from now, that game is completely changed. So what you bought on the disc and what you have a year later is completely two different things. Jag says, I like the convenience of a digital, but yeah, it's a problem. Here, obviously, we're just having a conversation, right? But it is a problem. It's a problem across the board with everything because, like I just said with the examples of, it starts with like smaller things, but then, you know, when it gets into something that you're interested in, right? When you care, you're like, well, wait a minute, why can't I own this? Why can't I? Logitech, was it Logitech or was it Razer? I think it was Logitech, was trying to do a monthly payment on a mouse. On a mouse, right? Meaning you don't own this mouse, you're renting the mouse to operate your computer, okay? BMW, charging stuff where you own the car, right? You buy the car, but the things in the car, you got to pay a monthly fee for to operate, okay? That's an issue, right? So it starts, okay? It starts what we're talking about here in the entertainment field about movies, DVDs, music, CDs, video games, discs, okay? But it starts to blend into the rest of the regular world. Jack says big boxes for small CD cases were great. Yeah. Then they realized they didn't have to put them in the big boxes anymore, and they just had the CD case. Ray says, well, the industry already decided we can't own houses. Well, there's a difference between your pay gap and not being able to afford a house and forcing you where you can't buy a house and you have to rent. That's a difference. You see the difference, right? Not a being able to afford a house because they raise the prices is different than I can't afford a house because they don't let me buy the house. And that's what's happening in the video game industry. In the video game industry and the entertainment field itself, they're not letting you own the thing anymore. That's the difference. Let's go on, Seeker. Good morning. Come on, sorry. Imagine not owning your favorite sports team gear anymore. Right, you're just leasing it. You're leasing it. You can't buy a jersey. You have to lease the jersey. You can't buy a hat. You got to lease the hat. Okay? But that's a physical thing. So for them to come to your house and rip it off your head, right? That's why I talked about houses and cars, because they can take those away from you. Middle of the night, they just pull up a tow truck and take that shit away. Right? People come to your door, change the locks, and kick you out. Right? Now, they don't even have to come into your house to take your games. They literally just hit a button. Nope, access denied. You can't play The Crew anymore. You can't play Battleborn anymore. You can't play certain games anymore because they just hit a button. Travis says 30. Oh, come on. It's not like a company would ever take all your games for bullshit. Oh, wait. Yeah. Travis got all his shit taken away, right? For whatever reason. Yeah, most PCs don't even come with disk drives anymore, Jack. Right? People don't even buy a disk drive. The PlayStation, not selling you a disk drive. You have to buy it separate. Right? Make the problem, sell the solution. They're like, oh, you want that thing that we're not going to make anymore? Well, pay $80 for it. Right? Xbox has 2 consoles. Now they made a new Xbox Series X with no disk drive. Salty says, legally in the UK, you are not stated as the owner of the car. In the States, you are the keeper. Interesting. I didn't know that, Salty. Waterbear says, unfortunately, companies will switch over to fully digital for games because overhead costs are a lot less, right? And they also always, for the way of save a penny, it's only going to get worse for us. And the worst part about this, Water, is that the prices won't go down, right? You will not have a physical disc, and the price will be $80, right? Or it'll be $100 or $110. You would think if you had digital, right, that you would pay less. Nope, but they're like, oh, it's a convenience. It's a convenience, and the convenience charge is $10. He says, almost like the money in your bank. Do you really own that? They can freeze your account. Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. That's why cash is king. That's why when you go somewhere and they're like, oh, I'll charge you $100 with a credit card. What about if I pay cash? Oh, $60. You're like, okay. Right? Roic says, no, that's not Roic, that's Hilly. Roic says, my friend bought a car from one place, and the remote kill switch installed. And if you, and it's so, if you didn't make a payment, they would disable the car. What happens if you disconnect it? What happens if you're savvy enough to disconnect it? That's fucking crazy. Hilly says, I banned in Lost Ark for after not playing for about 9 months. I took issue because I was showing up as a VAC ban on Steam. I sent Amazon a letter advising them I would take legal action. And what happened? What happened, Hilly, after that? Oh, wait. He says something down here. Took a week for the ban to be removed, and not because of a letter, but was just going on to take them to a small claims court in the UK for shits and giggles. Interesting. Kraken says, I've been waiting for a Blu-ray drive for my PC, but every time I look for one, it's such a pain in the ass. Either not compatible with my version of Windows, or it doesn't play UHD Blu-rays. Yeah, if you could pick up an old PlayStation 3, that would probably be your best bet for a Blu-ray player. You know what I mean? You could get a Blu-ray player for like super cheap. I mean, yeah, I know it's not part of your computer, but you could pick up a Blu-ray player really cheap now. Salty said it. And then take the physical away and still say they're not making enough. Yeah, you know that's coming. Just like Sarge says. Absolutely. Yeah, no, PC games were cheaper, like $40. Usually like $40. They were cheaper. Papa says, more than 30. Unfortunately, people don't understand that we've never owned a game. People need to go back and read the agreements for older games. Sure, you don't own... What that states, though, Akuta Papa, is that you don't own the game. The game. You own the disc that the game is on. You don't own the game. As long as I had, back in the day, okay, you could put it in your Nintendo, you could still play it, okay? The difference now is... because the game's not all on the disc, it's online access or it's digital, they can go, boop, and you can't play it any longer, okay? I can still go play my Mario 64. I don't own that game, but I own a copy of that game, right? That is the licensed that I'm paying for. I pay for a product. They give me the product, and I can take that product and insert it and outsert it and insert it. I can fling it. I can do what I want. I own that game. I own a copy of that game that I can still play. Okay? It's not about owning, right? It's about being able to play the game after the fact when they decide to shut down the servers or whatnot. Ray says Blu-ray discs are more expensive than standard. Yeah. Well, Blu-ray, because of the quality. It's because of the quality of the thing that you're buying. And no one's going to take your Switch games away from you, Ron, as long as they don't have any online access, right? If there's online access to the game, then you can't play that game anymore when they decide that you can't play that game anymore. Robert Jones says, yeah, we didn't own it, but Sony wasn't coming to my house to take back the game. Right. Now they don't have to. They can just boop, hit the button. Correct. And the straight law is that you don't own it, but you own the physical copy. What that law stated back then, though, Akuta Papa, was that you don't own the game, meaning you can't make copies of that game and redistribute it in any way, shape, or form. Okay? Like, if I was recording the Super Bowl on my VHS tape, okay, a blank VHS tape, I could download it and I could watch it as many times as I wanted, okay, because I own that disc or that cartridge or tape, okay? But I wasn't allowed to sell it. That is the thing that you were signing for, okay? That was it. And companies hate the secondhand market. They hate GameStop. They hate Facebook Marketplace. They hate all this stuff where you can get something and then I can give it to somebody else and make money off of it. Just Hilly says in the EULA, not sure if this works in the US, but in the UK, contracts normally won't hold up. I signed an agreement with Nvidia for cloud gaming, got refunded, even though I signed away. I would. How? You guys are much more protected over there. Your governments over there, Hilly, are much better when it comes to stuff like this than over here. Over here, we have no laws to protect against anything. Because over here we have no offense if you guys are lawyers, but a lot of lawyers are scummy, right? Like look at what they did with Disney when the guy had when his wife had a heart attack on property. They're like, well, he signed a Disney Plus free Disney Plus, so he's not allowed to sue. Those type of lawyers. Because I know there's a lawyer in chat who'll be like, not that type of lawyer. Okay, well then we're not talking about you. If you're a lawyer that looked up in the books and said that, well, he signed a free version of Disney Plus for 3 months off of Verizon. It's still going on, Jones. It's still going on. We'll know when it happens. Salty says, I remember when Sony had trying to stop you sharing your disc with friends so it wouldn't work on their systems. Still massive outrage. And then backpedaled. Yeah. Yeah. Do you think that company has changed? No. No. That company has not changed. That company is still here and exists. And they went, we'll figure a way out. We'll figure a way around this. And they have. And they have. Ron Slusher says, physical distribution simulator coming to soon to Steam. Ray says, lawyer. I'm not an evil lawyer. I'm a divorce lawyer who is pro to screw over one of the partner. Hey, the only people that win during those things are the lawyers. Win or lose, you're still getting paid. So, there's that first story. Travis says, 30. How is Shattered Space? Luke Stevens was saying it's still boring. Didn't Luke Stevens... Here's what I don't understand. And I'm not making fun of another content creator. Just asking a question in general. If I don't like spinach, and then spinach comes out with a new flavor of spinach, and then I eat this new flavor of spinach, and I'm like, yeah, still don't like spinach. Like, he didn't like Starfield in the beginning. So why would I listen to someone that didn't like the thing in the beginning to tell me he still doesn't like the thing? See, so that was a different category. In my opinion, there's a different category. The game came out, and there's the people that didn't like it, and there's the people that liked it. Now, if you're a person that liked it, and then you're looking, should I get Shattered Space? I wouldn't watch I know you don't have it, Travis, because you have a PlayStation. Okay, but if I was a person that was on PC or Xbox, and now I'm like, okay, it's a year later, these people liked it and didn't like it. These people are now gone to me because now I own the game, and now I want to see what these people have to say about Shattered Space, right? And if they liked Starfield, and then I'm like, all right, well, I want to hear, because I'm interested in Shattered Space, so now I want to hear what they have to say about Shattered Space, right? And then they tell you, well, yeah, it's good or bad, it's the same as the rest. Then I'll be like, oh, okay, cool. El Dente said, to be fair, he stated in his video that if you're into Starfield, you would probably like it. So there you go, right? Do you see what I'm saying? If a person liked it and then didn't like it, why would you listen to the person that didn't like it? Like, what person's like, I didn't like Starfield, and now I'm trying to sell you on the DLC of the thing I didn't like, which I still don't like. Amazing. Amazing. Salty says, I trust Popeye for spinach reviews. His biggest complaint is that he can't reason the $30 price tag since he beat it in 5 hours. Well, I don't know what to tell. Each their own. We streamed so far for 4 hours and 4 hours. Okay? We've have 8 hours into it, and I haven't beaten it yet. Okay? So if you do this because you don't want to listen to any dialogue or anything like that, then great. My point when I play a video game is not to beat it the fastest because I'm not 30 NSG speedrunner. I got to get through this game as fast as possible because I got the next game to review. Boom. Ray says it should be 20. Why? Not that I'm defending the 30, but why do you think it should be 20? There's no way he played it in 5 hours and got all the side quest missions that came with the DLC as well. Jag says, I own the DLC due to a certain edition, but found the game somewhat disappointing. Would I like Shattered Space? Probably not if you found the base game disappointing. Well, let me rephrase that. Did you play the main story or did you play the faction missions when you did play when you played the first part of the game, Jag? If you played the main story, I suggest that you go and play the Crimson Fleet mission, or you go play the Vanguard storyline. Right? Just go to the factions and just pick Vanguard, or just pick the Crimson Fleet, right? Or pick the UC. Okay? Go play those, and then come back and tell me if you enjoyed that more than the main story. Because I have 200 hours into it. I played everything before the main quest, and I loved the game for the other stories. I did not like the main story. The main story is the weakest part of Starfield. Kylo says, I saw Mr. Matty. Doesn't like the DLC either. I mean, he also Kylo, didn't like Starfield in the beginning, then changed his mind and said he did like it, right? So, again, when a game comes out, this is DLC now. If the game came out and these people liked or didn't like, and now I purchased it, why do I care about these people that didn't like it? Now you're only focusing on the people that like the game. What did they think? They didn't like it a year ago. So are they going to like it now? It's not like it's a 2.0 update. It's a DLC of the same thing that they didn't like. Hilly says, I'm the opposite speedrunner. AC Valhalla, I'm still playing the DICE minigame. Yeah, I'm playing Witcher 3, but I'm just playing Gwent. Yeah. Jack says, I played the main story all the way, and all the factions, liked most of the factions. That's what this is, Jack. So far in my 8 hours of playing, the DLC is a faction, right? Of Varun, and that's what it is. It's more faction type of story type of stuff than the main story type of stuff. I hated the main story and then go, oh, you gotta get your powers. Woo! You fly around the little thing, get your powers. It's the stupidest part of the whole thing. $5 to 10 hours DLC, a 100-hour plus a game feel like a drop in the bucket. I mean, you're paying. Value is each their own way, right? So, I think if you didn't speed through it, right? Again, a lot of these reviewers speed through stuff and whatnot. There's a lot of side quests, lots of dialogue options, lots of different things you can do. There's new weapons. I'm sure I don't know for a fact. I don't know if it's a standalone just on that planet, or do these people now end up, do they populate the rest of the world? I don't know yet. Okay. I can't tell you that in my 8 hours, so I doubt the people that played for 5 can tell you that. Okay. But I'm sure there's more than just 10 to 15 hours worth of content for $30. Now, we had a conversation months ago when they came out with the $7 mission that was, how long was it, chat? Was it like an hour and a half to 2 hours for $7? Right? And to compare a game like a DLC from The Witcher, or compare a DLC from Cyberpunk, or compare to what's another game that came out recently that had a good DLC? Oh, Elden Tree with from FromSoft. Those are their own. Sure, as a gamer, you can go, oh, I got this much content out of this DLC. I got this out of this DLC. But not every DLC is going to be the same. I have 50 hours in the Roach race in Cyberpunk 2077. Dolphin says, Greg Miller loves it. Like Starfield in the beginning. Imagine that. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, Dolphin, right? People that liked it, right? People that liked the game are going to be a little bit more, I don't want to say fanboy, more fair, right? Because I watched Greg Miller talk about it, right? And he talks about there are problems in the game. And he gives it, what, like a 7 or something like that? Okay? But he loves the game, right? So who am I going to listen to? Someone that didn't like the game, or someone that liked the game as an owner of the game? Like, you own the game. You paid for the game. You might as well give it a shot, Jag. The little buggy's funny. Watch my stream last night. We used it to get around everywhere. It's a fun to use. It's fun to use. Travis says, by the way, you'll think it's crazy, but I finally figured out why I don't like Elden, and it's not anything more than just it doesn't gel with me. I think people need to be okay with a person saying it just doesn't suit me. Sure. But up until this point, Travis, all you do the entire time is shit talk a game you don't like, instead of just saying it doesn't gel with me. Just saying. I don't know who Colin. Who's Colin? Told Maddie to shit on Starfield. I don't know. Credit says, if your opinion aligned with them on the base game, more than likely your opinion will align with them on the expansion. But as you, good consumers should expand your research. Sure. But again, if you already purchased, you already have the DLC, and you're like, well, I heard it's bad. Well, you already paid for it, so you might as well play it. Maybe not now. Maybe down the line when you're like, I don't have anything else to play with your backlog. Salty says, Bethesda games don't gel with me at all. And that's okay. I didn't think Elden Ring would gel with me, but it did. I don't like those type of games, Salty. And when I picked up Elden Ring, I love the open world aspect of it. I loved it. I thought it was great. I got like 56 hours or something like that in it. Never beat it. But the amount of time that I have in it, I loved it. El Dente says, I look at it as a compared to the previous DLCs, not other games. For me, Shattered Space isn't horse armor, but it also isn't Far Harbor. Yeah, I'll let you know when I'm done with it. I'll let you know when I'm done with the content in it. We'll probably pick it up maybe on Friday. I'll do another stream. If I don't do Friday, we might do Friday morning. But if I don't do Friday, then I'll probably do next Monday. We'll play it until we finish it, like the side missions and everything else. Again, I tell people never to pick up a game day one or anything. Wait and see. See what people say. Big difference between saying I don't enjoy a game and saying this game is bad. Right. Right. Do the Constellation NPCs play much of a role in the story? Up to now. So the first night I played and Sarah was with me. And then before I played night 2, before yesterday's stream, I went to go pick up Andraja because I started New Game Plus before the DLC came out, like months ago. And I didn't have her in my crew again. So I had to go do those missions and get her back in my crew. And then I brought her with me. I thought she would like interact more because it's her people. So far, in the 4 hours that we played yesterday, in the 3 missions that we played yesterday, because we played 3 missions the first day, 3 missions the second day, she hasn't incorporated much into the story so far. But there's so many different like points, right? I don't know if I was later in the story and I choose her to be my wife in the game, and then all of a sudden, like, we have this bond, would she act differently? Because I know she acts differently later in the game when you're at that point, but would she act differently at that point with this DLC? I don't know. I don't have that answer. Hilly says, I'm trying to like Starfield because I own it. I don't like the way it looks. Something with the HDR on my TV just ended up playing AC Valhalla. I will circle back maybe to play Starfield on my PC. I struggled to see stuff, messed around with the settings, and just looked too dark or weird. Really? That's got to be something... Is your television set in HDR? Like, is there a gamer mode or something on your actual screen, Hilly? I was saying last night, Akuta Papa, right? I was saying last night when we were playing, I was like, I kind of want to go and just, like, completely no-life it for, like, a month and just do, like, multiple New Game Pluses and see, like, what changes and stuff like that. Right? Because I like it. I like it. It's not a perfect game, but I like doing the stuff that's in the game. And now, on top of that, okay, before Shattered Space came out, the mods revived the game for me because I made it all Star Wars. Right? That to me is fantastic. So it says Mike always has most logical takes. I mean, I just speak what I've played, right? I don't try to shit on something to just shit on it. And even when I do shit on something, I give you a reason why I'm shitting on it. Like, I don't do the broad hand wave. Oh, just Shadow Space, just fucking garbage. It's just garbage. It's like, maybe that game's not for you, right? Maybe you're not a person that likes open world games. Maybe you're a person that doesn't like Bethesda games. I personally like Bethesda games. So am I going to be a little bit more, you want to call it bias or fair with them? Probably. Okay. Like, I know it has problems. See, there's a difference between me and lots of other people. I can play a shitty game. I can play a bad game. I can know a game is not perfect, tell you that it's not perfect, tell you that it's bad or good, and still like it. And tell you that I like it. Because I don't give a shit if someone's like, I think that game's a piece of shit. I'll be like, okay, cool. Yeah, I played that with the settings. I made Space Marines 2 darker, and it feels better. But man, looking around for collectibles sucks. Oh, it's Space Marines. Travis says, honestly, looking at Starfield, to me, it's not a bad looking. It's just I like the Outer Worlds better. It's just more interesting to me. But each their own. Well, Outer Worlds is more handcrafted. And there's like what, 4 planets? I don't even remember if there's that many, right? Very, very... I said this in the beginning of Starfield last year. As soon as they announced 1,000 planets, I was like, why? Why would there be 1,000? Why be 1,000 planets? Right? Like, same with No Man's Sky. 18 quintillion planets. Why? I'm never touching any of those. I'm touching like 100. Okay? There's 1,000 in Starfield. They could have just had a solar system. Like 10 planets. Hell, give me 20 planets. And every time you came out with the DLC, it could have been one more planet, one more location. Why have 1,000? It's just awesome. That's why. 852 planets. That's the sweet spot. Akuda Papa says 30. A fair amount of things change. Something I've studied with Einstein's Rosen's bridge wormholes with the focus of interdimensional or faster light travel. So this game and its lore. Okay. Well, Todd said that they like studied the quantum physics of a wormhole and all this other stuff. And I'm like, how come I don't have to gas up my ship? It's like they went into like the realism of certain things and they're like, yeah, you don't need fuel because it was just annoying because it's a game. World says, man, Duke Nukem game got destroyed reviewed-wise. I know I hated the community, but I played through the whole game and had fun with it. And at the end of the day, that's all it is, right? You don't have to sit in your house when you play your games and go, well, suck my titty, 77649er on Reddit said it was bad. I can't play it in my house because he said so. Like, okay. Like, just go play the games you want to play. But when we have conversations about, is this game bad? Is this game, Outlaws, which we'll talk in a little bit, right? Is it a bad game? No, it's not a bad game, right? Is it a shitty game? No, it's not a shitty game, but it's just a good game. But why is it just good? Well, these are the reasons why it's good, and this is the reasons why it's bad, okay? It's an incomplete game, right? And everyone's like, no, it's not. No, it's not, 30. It's the greatest game ever since sliced bread. It's the greatest game. Right, you got to get these guys in here, right? You got to get the trash defenders, okay? The trash knights to come in to defend the game that they bought, and instead of just going, oh, you know what? Yeah, the stealth is kind of shitty. You know what? The gunplay is kind of bad. So much so, the company's like, yeah, we should fix these things, and they acknowledge it because they know it's bad. Hey, what if that Reddit user 123788 finds out and mocks me on my platform? Yeah. How does it affect me in any way, shape, or form if I play Marvel's Avengers and someone comes in and goes, I can't believe you're playing this shit game. I can't believe you're watching me play this shit game. Like, that's my mentality, right? Someone that goes, I can't believe you're playing this shit game. Well, you found me playing this game, meaning you're looking for people that are playing this game. There's a word for that. There's a word for that. All right. Let's go to the next story. Okay. If you guys like what I do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning to noon Eastern. We have a chat with chat. You guys are part of the actual conversation. Okay. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers. So if you're a person that sits here every single day, doesn't speak, just lurks, I appreciate you. I would appreciate just a little bit more if you hit that like button, because as a small streamer, it helps push this channel out to other people that actually might want to subscribe or might want to hit that like button. So I appreciate you. All right. So the game industry is undergoing a generational change, says Epic CEO Tim Sweeney. A lot of games are released with high budgets and they're not selling. I wonder why, right? There could be a bunch of reasons why it's not selling. Okay. So the world of video games is changing, and Epic chief believes the future is social. Okay. So Epic Games CEO Tim Sweeney said during the address at today's Unreal Fest in Seattle, as well uncertainty about exactly the metaverse is continued growth of Fortnite. And the failure of the number of high-profile, big-budget games to meet expectations is proof that the represent of the future of gaming. So is he saying that the future of gaming is the metaverse? Well, let's knock that. Let's put a kibosh to that, shall we? Okay. Second Life. I know all these other people think that they've come up with the metaverse. Everyone's like, oh, we came with the metaverse first. Fortnite's got the metaverse, and Apple's got the metaverse, and all these. No, Second Life, okay, which is a company out in San Francisco back in early 2000s, came out with Second Life. That was the fucking metaverse. What they were doing in that game ahead of with actual real money, converting the money and whatnot, with money laundering and banking and real estates and selling servers and selling goods within the game, that was happening 20 odd years ago. Okay. And then these guys came along and are like, oh, we got this is the future. Right. So the way that Fortnite's doing it, I think is working for them. I think taking the games like Rocket League Racing, taking the, what's it called? Not Among Us. What's the other, Fall Guys, putting that inside, using Fortnite as a platform where it's like, it's the umbrella, right? And underneath the umbrella is all these other things that you can play. I believe that's smart for what Epic is doing, right? What Roblox is doing, what Minecraft is doing. Minecraft is like, oh, you can play in Star Wars, you can play in the Minions, you can play in Garfield, you can play in How to Train Your Dragon. Fortnite does the same thing. Roblox does the same thing. That works for them. But if every game was like this, like to play, let's say Star Wars Outlaws, I had to log into the Fortnite. I don't know. Okay. So Fortnite hit new records concurrently. Okay, Sweeney said during the opening comments, achieving an all-time peak of 110 million active users over the previous holiday season. An accomplishment, he said, comes amidst of a general change in the gaming industry. He says, quote, one of the manifestations, Jesus. Okay, we're seeing right now is that a lot of games are released in the high budgets, and they're not selling nearly as well as expected, Sweeney said. Where other games are going to be incredibly strong, what we're seeing is a real trend where players are gravitating towards a reality of big games where they can play with more of their friends. I think co-op is bigger than multiplayer, right? I think co-op is bigger than multiplayer. I think more people would like to play with one or two of their friends more than in a group with hundreds, if not thousands, of people playing a video game. Okay? I truly believe that. Okay? Like, more people want to play, like, they won't touch a game, but if their friend plays with them, they'll play it. Right? And they don't really want to play with masses of people. They just want to play with just a buddy of theirs. Okay? So, it says, the perceived value of game, he continued, grows in proportion to the number of your friends that you can connect with for everything from playing games together or chatting by voice, watching virtual concerts, or doing other kinds of cool virtual things online. Again, for Epic, I think that works. But if Fortnite, Roblox, Activision, World of Warcraft, just picture every MMO now does what Fortnite does, where everyone's watching the next Taylor Swift concert inside of Warcraft, or inside of Fortnite, or inside of ESO, whatever, right? Final Fantasy 14 online. They're all watching a concert, right? Then the pie wouldn't be as big over for Fortnite, right? Because if I could watch that stuff other places, then I wouldn't go to Fortnite to play it. But let's continue. Some people will call the metaverse, Sweeney says, and they're not all in agreement on that, what it means. Some people, when they hear the word metaverse, they think that what Facebook is doing with VR and now AR. And some people also in the metaverse describe everything they don't like about the current Fortnite season. Regardless of what you think the moment-to-moment state of Fortnite, though, it's new. It's exciting. It's something that never happened in the scale of a history of entertainment, Sweeney said, which is true. What they're doing with Fortnite is never been done before at the scale that it's doing it. Okay, the evolving story, the ongoing live content updates, obviously, is a huge part of that. But the attribute to such a Fortnite success to all world's brands participating and dropping in musicians, reaching users, Disney, Star Wars, and others all coming together to create a world-class of entertainment experience and ever-evolving and live. This is really what we think the future of gaming is all about. He says, I'm amongst those who raise an eyebrow whenever the topic of metaverse comes up, but won't argue that Sweeney points out that 7 years after Fortnite first launched, it remains an absolute juggernaut, and the biggest brand in entertainment are still lining up to get in. On the other side, though, of the coin, Sweeney mentions that a slump amongst some big-budget standalone releases seem to on point, like Suicide Squad, Final Fantasy 16, Starfield, and most pointedly out Star Wars Outlaws, have all been letdowns to some extent, even though all of the carry the branding Sweeney is so authentic about. Okay, so I think there's a lot, right? The games that he talks about, right? Suicide Squad, obviously, the brand of Suicide Squad itself wasn't huge. The movies didn't do very well, okay? Yes, they're popular comic book character, like group of characters, okay? But overall, in the grander scheme of things, Suicide Squad is not a very popular thing. And then on top of that, they shoved certain things, aspects into the game that other people that weren't already on top of were pushing those people away. So now the niche group of people that you had to play Suicide Squad got smaller and smaller and smaller until you have, what was it, 238 people to play the DLC that came out yesterday? Bravo. Okay. That you pushed them out so much because you made a game for diverse individuals or LGBTQ individuals, which, again, is fine. Okay? Because originally video games was for everybody. Didn't care your race, sex, okay, who you banged. Okay, it didn't matter. It didn't matter. Just you want to play the game? You got money in your pocket? Hey, play the game. Okay, but now it's not about that, right? It's not about just selling a game or making a game and sell a game. It's about what kind of stuff can we push on, and then when it's bad, when it's a bad game, okay, when it's a bad game, bad story, bad gameplay, bad game design, no end game, right? And then to say when those things don't work out, the reason it didn't work out is because you're racist, sexist, misogynistic, right? Instead of bad game, okay? Same with Final Fantasy 16 came out, and people liked it, but they didn't. It's a niche community, but then they kind of lowered that base even more because less people own a PlayStation, right? So that went down even more, the people that could play the actual game, okay? Now, I didn't play Final Fantasy 16 if people liked it for the mechanics or whatnot, or maybe it was the story. Maybe the story wasn't as good. I don't know personally with that. I didn't play it. Starfield is the exact same thing. Leading up to a brand new IP for Starfield, okay, even though I like it, okay, they took something, and Bethesda has been kind of going down the tubes a little bit over the years because Fallout 76 came out, and they made a bad game. So it was a bad game. It was broke, buggy, unfinished, okay? It was something that people didn't ask for. The niche community, once again, okay, if that is 12 million people out of 250 million people, it's a niche community, okay? And then you shrunk that down even more when the game was broke, buggy, unfinished, bad game design, bad whatever, okay? Now, over the years, they fixed it, and it's a better spot. But now you came out with your next IP, and the same exact thing. Come on, broke, buggy, best Bethesda launch ever as far as being less brokey, less buggy, less unfinished, but still, those things existed, right? So again, the main campaign is absolute garbage, and most people just play the actual main campaign. So did it fail because people didn't want to play it? No, it failed because it was a bad campaign, okay? And then we have Star Wars Outlaws. Star Wars Outlaws, in the media's eyes, failed because you're racist, sexist, misogynistic, and you didn't like Kay Vess in her face, okay? But the masses didn't buy the game because it was broke, buggy, unfinished, and then it was a niche community, and then the Star Wars brand itself is damaged, okay, which we'll go over to in the next story, okay? But these are the problems why these games, particular these 4 games, didn't do well. Okay, that and the budget's extremely high. Okay, extremely high. I would love to know the budget of what Fortnite is if Tim Sweeney would come out with those numbers, right? Because Concord was like 400 million and Spider-Man was 315 million, and supposedly Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be like $1 billion, right? I would love to know what Fortnite spends on getting all these brand deals and all this other stuff just to make it going and what they make back, right? We know Epic loses money all the time from the Epic Game Store. I would love to know what type of money they're making or losing, or what they spend a month just on Fortnite. But let me know what you think. Do you think that games are failing because they're not co-op? They're not, I mean, Black Myth Wukong would say otherwise, right? 18, 20 million copies sold, right? Cyberpunk 2077 sold, even though broke, buggy, and unfinished, right? Sold, what was it, like 8 million day one, or pre-orders, 12 million by day one, sold like 20 million over the course, right? Single player games sell 20, 30 million. So, or do more people care about playing with their friends, like 1 to 2 friends, or do they play more about playing with the masses of people? Let me know in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and if you like what I do here, please check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. Dolphin says 30. Some kid on Twitter emailed Lono telling him he was going to sue him. Said it was illegal to read the past YouTube chat log out loud to the public. I mean, that's just public. Well, all right. Well, can't fix stupid. World says, I was one of the people who was skeptical of Final Fantasy 16 and a fan since the NES days. I love the game. Definitely worth playing, even if you were just a fan and kind of combat in games. I love Final Fantasy in the old school, like Nintendo, NES, Super NES type of... I love Final Fantasy back then. I got out of it after that. When I was a kid, man, I loved them. Ray says they fail because of half the employees are just useless in making a game. Yeah, upper management problems. You hear all the problems. All these people are getting let go, and then you hear all the supposedly that the employees are complaining about management because they just don't know what they're doing. Right? They can't make a decision. There's crunch time. There's all these other things. Right? But the reason the games fail, right, is because of us, which is true. It is because of us. But not because we're racist, sexist, and misogynistic. It's because that we hold the power, because we hold the money. And they make a product, and then they sell that product, and then we buy that product. And if we don't want to buy that product based on if the trailer looks good, if the game comes out and it feels good, if the music sounds good, if the movie looks good, right? I say this all the time. Everyone's like, oh, man, you got to go see this movie. It was really good. And I tell you, well, the trailer didn't really sell me. Right? We talked about Transformers 1 the other day, right? Transformers 1's trailer, when the way they cut it, didn't look very good. It didn't appeal to me. But then I watched people's reviews, and they're like, "Oh, it's really good." Don't look at the trailer. The trailer doesn't justify what the movie is. It's actually really good. Okay, and that's a problem fundamentally with the studio. They didn't market it well, right? So a lot of these games don't market themselves very well, right? And this goes back to the other issue. When you market a game and you're marketing the game for not what the game is, you're marketing the game for what it's not. You're marketing the game based off of gender. You're marketing the game off of religion. You're marketing the game off of sexual orientation, right? That is the problem people have. They're like, I don't want to play a game like that. Because if you come out and tell me that this is the most cis white man ever, you'd be like, oh, I don't really want that. Or if this is the most gay character ever in a video game, you're like, okay, but what's the game? Is it a sci-fi game, or is it a fantasy game? What's the game, right? But companies don't understand that, right? So then there's twofold here. There's people that look at this and say, well, this game is failing because of DEI, SBI, woke, whatever. Then there's the other people going, I just don't like it. I just don't like it. Like AC Shadows, of all the stuff that's on top of AC Shadows, is that I used to play every single AC's game up until I forget if it's Syndicate or Unity. Okay, up until that point. After that point, I could care less about the AC brand because the game was the same to me over and over and over and over. So much so that they changed the scale of it. They changed what it was. They changed how they did it. They made it more of an RPG thing. They shrunk the game down. They've changed since then. But I'm not buying the game because I'm sexist, racist, because I'm a white guy, and because I'm sexist, racist against a black guy that's a samurai. I'm not buying it because I'm not interested in that game. Because I look at the trailer and go, nah, it's just not for me. I don't really care, right? Or someone else looks at it and goes, oh, it looks amazing. Now, is the people that look at that and go, it's amazing, is that let's do old math here. Is it greater than or less than? Okay. So when a game comes out and it doesn't sell well, is it because they're racist? Or is it because everything up to that, the marketing that you did, the non-marketing you did, the gameplay that you showed, the story elements that you showed, the trailer that you showed, did it look good? Right? Right? That's the thing. Did it sell what it was supposed to do? Right? Perfect example. Someone that comes into my channel right now, okay, that just they refresh their YouTube and they see a little brief thing, right? If I do this, right, and they're scrolling through, they see me waving my arms, be like, "What's wrong with this guy?" They might come in because that 3 seconds might have hooked them in, okay? But if I sit here like this, they're gonna have, this guy's boring, right? And that's it. First impressions are like everything, okay? And that's the problem. So am I supposed to, in the same mentality that these studios and these companies say that their game fails, am I supposed to do the same thing, right? Like if I didn't know, right, and I know a lot of you guys, because right, we talk all the time, you've been here for like 2 years, but am I supposed to say that the reason my channel doesn't grow as fast is because everyone here is racist, or the people that are not here are racist because of my skin? They don't want, they just don't want to. They want a young guy. They want a black guy. They want a Chinese guy. They want a woman, right? That's so stupid to think that, right? It's just like, are you interested in the content? Yes or no? Is it something you want to watch? Yes or no? Does it work? Yes or no? Right? That's it. Are you interested in it? Do you want to watch it? Do you want to play it? Do you want to listen to it? It's not the problem. It's one of the many problems that these companies are struggling with. You throwing math at me? When you hire people based on wanting more diverse employees instead of the most qualified, it tends to have a negative effect. Right. But that's one of the issues, right? For the people that are paying attention to that, that is one of the issues, right? But the people that are not paying attention to it, why are they not buying the game? Why are the people that don't want to pay attention to the YouTubers, okay, or read the articles, they just look at the game like, are they seeing the advertisements? Is the advertisement selling to them? Travis says, 30, it didn't sell because you didn't sell it to me. May not make sense, but that's reality. It's not me to buy it. It's on them to sell to me. It's exactly right. Exactly right. Why didn't I go to the movies? Why didn't I go listen to your next album? Why didn't I buy your next game? Robert Jones says the companies are just doing it wrong. The idea for not to overlook people based on factors, not hire because of it. Right? It's just it's being amplified now. It's being amplified now. Let's go over to the next. Let's go over to the next story. Right. I want to talk about. We were supposed to talk about this yesterday. I want to make sure I get it in today. Okay. The story yesterday was this is from Insider Gamer. Okay. The Star Wars Outlaws has sold just 1 million copies in the month since it launched. Okay. If you guys like what I do here, we just cover news stories, have conversations, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We do this live 4 days a week. We do podcasts Thursday night, sometimes on Wednesdays. We do gameplay. We do lots of different things. Okay. Let me see. Hold on. Someone texted me. Yeah. Okay. So Star Wars Outlaws was plagued with issues at launch, some of which Ubisoft, to make a drastic tweaks, it wasn't well received by the general market. Let's just pause there for a second. Okay. Let's just pause there for a second. Okay. Star Wars Outlaws was plagued with issues at launch, some of which that led Ubisoft to make drastic tweaks, and it wasn't well received by the general market. The gamers worldwide have even been given pretty low scores. So, obviously, first impressions are everything. Okay, no matter what people think, right? First impressions are everything. Okay, if you come to a interview and you look like disheveled and stuff, people are probably not going to give the job to you. And it wasn't based on your sex, race, or ethnicity. Okay, it was because you looked like a pile of crap walking into a job interview. Okay, first impressions are everything. Okay, that's just the first impression. Then you have to start speaking, and then when you start speaking, if you sound like you don't know what you're talking about, then you also are probably not getting the job, not because of your sex, race, or ethnicity, because of the way you present yourself. Okay, then once you get the job, you might not keep your job because of your work ethic, not, again, because of your sex, race, or ethnicity, okay? Just on your actual worth ethic. So if Star Wars Outlaws was plagued with issues at launch, and then there's people out there going, well, I didn't have problems. A small group of people, okay? The marketing material of this is that, well, I don't want to play as a girl, right? So some people said, I don't want to play the Star Wars game. I don't want to play as a girl, okay? Now, maybe the last Star Wars game that came out, which was, I believe, the last single player... No, it was Jedi Survivor, right? People played and go, Jedi, right? I don't think people would have cared if it was a girl Jedi or a male Jedi. I'm sure people would have cared and be like, oh, it should have been Mara Jade, whatever, okay? But Jedi sells because it's Star Wars, and that's what you think. When you say Star Wars, you think Jedi, right? So that's why people wanted to play those games. And then when they played Battlefront 2, okay, they had a story mode, and it was a girl protagonist. That sold like 12 million copies for Star Wars. Okay. Was it because of the multiplayer? Was it because of the story? Was it because of the whole package? Who knows? It still sold 12 million copies back then and still was a failure. Why? Because they shoved microtransactions down your throat at that time. Okay. No one was racist or sexist or misogynistic against the girl in Battlefront 2's single player story. But I digress. Okay. So this one comes out. They market it as a first open world, okay? Play as Kay Vess, and they show you the marketing. And when we first saw it, I was like, man, that looks good. That looks good. I didn't care about Kay. Was I disappointed? I would have been like, it would have been cool if you played as Han and Chewbacca because, you know, it would have been cool because that's what they're going for. Obviously, that's what they're going for because in the actual game, if you pre-ordered, you got the Han Solo outfit. You got Nick's. He had the little Chewbacca little sash going across him, okay? Like, they knew what they were doing, but they don't do that, right? They go a separate route because they want to be original or whatnot, even though Star Wars, even though we've had this conversation before, is all about the Skywalkers. Sorry for those people that don't like Jedis and Skywalkers, okay? So, it's not many sales that Ubisoft expected, which explains the recent comments about the game's performance, providing softer than expected. We read an article, was it 2 weeks ago? They thought it was going to sell 8 million by March, and then they lowered that by 40% to 5 million by March, and now it's way lower than that, so they'll probably lower it again to 3 million. Okay? It says it also partly why Assassin's Creed Shadows was considerably delayed, being pushed back from November 2024 to February 2025. Okay? Imagine the power of people not buying something, which I tell you all the time. If you don't like it, don't buy it. If you don't buy it, they'll change their ways real fast. If they mean it or not, they're going to have to change their ways. This didn't sell very well, so they pushed back Shadows because they're like, well, maybe we should hold off because pre-orders are down. Potentially. Okay? And then also, that all the rest of the stuff that's on top of it just not looking good. Okay. So it says even the Force can't help. Insider Gamer hasn't been able to learn what expected sales figures was for Star Wars Outlaws, but we secured the current sales figures from sources close to the game. At the time of writing this, Star Wars Outlaws just ticked over 1 million sales worldwide, which is absolutely like mind-boggling to me. Okay. Now, we do know Jedi Survivor didn't sell well as either, and that's a beloved, right? Cal Kestis was a beloved character. Okay. So did it not sell because people were racist against a white guy in a sequel? Or was it because the game was broke, buggy, had problems when the game came out? I think that would be it. Okay, so this came out, and it sold, I think it sold like 3 million, right? Which is below other titles at the same time frame. But now it's not selling, obviously, it's not selling well. So much so, they had to put the other titles back on the old platform because they're just not selling well, and they had to make up for it some way, in some way, shape, or form. Okay, that's why they put it now on the older systems, because the people weren't moving up to the new system to buy it, so they had to go back to bring it to them to see if they wanted to play it on the old systems. Okay, but 1 million Star Wars by itself. This is why there's a tax. This is why when you go to a store and you buy something with Disney on it or Star Wars on it, you're paying like 25% more because they have to pay a licensing fee for that. And Star Wars needs to make a minimum of something, right? So let's say it's like, well, a normal game, if it was just a generic title, would sell 3 to 5 million copies. But with Star Wars on it, would sell 5 to 7 to 8 million copies easily. And that's what they were banking on here, right? They were banking that this game would sell 8 million copies, and then they lowered their expectations to 5 million, and now it only sold 1 million in the first month, which is absolutely horrendous. Now, obviously, I didn't purchase it. I played it for $18 for that 1 month, and I'm not playing it anymore. I beat the game, put it down, and I'll see you at the end of the year, not the end of this year, end of next year, when finally all the content comes in, and then I'll pay for it when it's super cheap, okay? Because that's the way they did it. So a lot of people were turned off by the business model. A lot of people were turned off by the content that they were putting out. A lot of people were turned off because they were locking things behind a paywall. A lot of people didn't want to play it because they just didn't want to play a female in this. They didn't want to play these characters that were unknown in this. They wanted to play characters that they knew from the original Star Wars. Okay, you take a game, set it in that region of Star Wars, and they expect that they were going to play one of the characters they love. Luke, Leia, Han, Chewie, Lando, whoever. Hell, put Wedge in there. We don't care, okay? But we expected something from that time frame, okay? So it didn't sell well for them, okay? So in early trailers of the demo, Star Wars Outlaws impressed gamers excited to explore the vast open world environment and the new characters following the original story. As time wore on, the sentiment around the game wavered somewhat, and the gameplay videos released close to launch of the game failed to fill the consumers with sense of anticipation. That's right. The gameplay you were showing, all of a sudden you were hiding things. You weren't showing the speeder bike, and we know why now, why they didn't show the speeder bike scenarios, because they were all broke. Okay, it's the worst part of the game beyond the actual stealth. Okay, so on social content and streaming platforms, the buzz around Star Wars Outlaws dried up quickly, and all of it was left staring at clips posted on social media showcasing the game's poor stealth sequences and bugs. This is the kind of thing that Ubisoft moved patched up not long after the launch, but damages were done. And what this teaches you is that games shouldn't come out where they have bugs and glitches on day one. Fix your shit, make a game, sell a game. Okay, so in 30 days on the market, Star Wars Outlaws was sold just 1 million copies, and it's not expected that this will ship many more, or ship many more. Okay, so are you surprised how badly Star Wars Outlaws underperforms? Let us know. Let me know, right, in the comment section, in the live chat. Are you surprised that Star Wars didn't sell, right? Like, the people that you're marketing for, are they going out and buying the toys? Is there toys? Has anyone seen a toy of K-Vest in the toy store? I haven't. Okay, I haven't even seen ND5. I haven't seen any of this in the toy store. But do you know what I do see in the toy store? Lots and lots of Acolyte figures that no one wanted. Lots and lots of Ahsoka toys that nobody wanted. Lots and lots of The Last Jedi toys that nobody wanted, or The Force Awakens, or everything else, right? The brand of Star Wars, not just this game, but over just the last 4 years, 5 years after The Last Skywalker, or The Rise of Skywalker, okay? The brand is massively damaged. massively damaged, and the only thing subpar that actually did anywhere near anything for Disney was The Mandalorian Season 1 and 2. Everything else has absolutely failed. Okay? So this goes into the next part of it, right? Star Wars, just in general, okay? Just in general, look at the box office, right? Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, 2015. This is 3 years after Star Wars was bought and purchased from George Lucas, right? And everybody was flying high. Everyone was so excited that The Force Awakens was coming out, and so much they marketed it towards the old school people that made it worth $4.2 billion. Okay? And they marketed it, and they came out and sold domestically almost $1 billion on its own, and then sold $1.1 billion internationally. Okay? Because that is the crowd. Star Wars fans came out in the masses. They're 30 years later. They were like so excited. They're like, yeah, let's watch this. Okay, 15 years after the prequels, 30 years after the originals. Okay, $2 billion. Okay, then people watched it and said, well, wait a minute, this is not that good. This is not that good. Then people started talking about stuff, and then the sequel came out. And it still made $1 billion. Still made $1 billion. But did you notice a big difference here? Now this is at 600, and this is at 700. Where, right? It was 9 and 1.1, and now it's at 6 and 7. Made $1.3 billion. And then the brand, people are like, well, this is where are they going with this? What are they doing with this? Right? Right? But the media would tell you that the reason it made $1 billion was because people were sexist, racist, misogynistic. They didn't like Rose Tico, or they hated Ray, or they hate, right? It still made $1 billion, right? And then the next movie came out, and it made less than, right? Because that made $1.3 billion, and then it made $1 billion. Still $1 billion. Still very successful in a term of, right? But look what happened just from 2015 to 2019. In 4 years, they destroyed half of the population. Because to have a movie hit $1 billion, first of all, people have to go watch a movie multiple times. Okay? To make a $2 billion movie, you need fans not go see it multiple times. We're talking about 3, 4, 5 times to go see a movie like this. Okay? And it started slowly going down. Just slowly, right? So this is 2019. Now we're at the low. We thought we were at the lowest point. People thought we were at the lowest point. So then Star Wars, okay, here's the Reddit Nielsen ratings and stuff like that, okay? And you look at this, and Mando came out, and it came out, actually, let me show you this one, okay? Mando came out, and it was, like, fantastic, right? Look at this. Mando, bam, up there. Yeah, these are minutes watched, by the way, okay? Not millions of people, just right? Just average minutes per episode, okay? Everyone's watching it. Then all of a sudden, Boba Fett came out, and we're like, what? What is this? Okay. Then Kenobi came out. Okay, more people watched it, but why? Why did more people watch than Boba Fett? Right? Well, they shit on Boba Fett. This is Beta Fett now. And then this is Obi Belittery Obi, okay? And Bland Vader, okay? Which they ruined this, right? And then Andor came out, which Andor supposedly is the best thing out there. But people were so pissed off about what they did with Boba Fett and Obi-Wan that they're like, fuck you, I'm not watching this. Okay? Then season 3 came out of Mando because they're like, Mando's back. And then all of a sudden they went, oh, God. And it went downhill. And then we have Ahsoka, and now we have the Acolyte. So within 4 years, 8 years, we went from Disney owning the brand, making $2 billion, the Star Wars name, at the very beginning of their first thing that they've created, to ending up where they canceled the show, and now they don't even know if they're making any more shows, right? There's the Skeleton Crew is coming out. Everything else is, they've canceled more than they've made, okay, for actual movies, right? They've canceled, I think, literally like 12 feature films from like 5 different directors, okay? They don't even know if they're doing the Rey movie anymore, okay? Which then goes to Star Wars. Daisy Ridley has some thoughts on the hate Rey gets from fans. Now, obviously, I thought the Rey character, personally, was fine. I think she did a great job. Ridley herself, I think, was a great actress for it. But again, we don't hate the character because she's a woman. We hate the character because of the writing that was done by the people that thought they knew Star Wars. And that is the fundamental problem with Star Wars. Star Wars doesn't push that they made the problem. Star Wars and Disney don't admit that they're making a bad product. Their product is flawless. They're, as Homelander would say, perfect. Okay? But the real reason is that the product is bad. Even though it made $2 billion, okay? Think about the mindset. People hated Rey, but overall, the 3 movies made $4 billion in 4 years. It's $1 billion a year. Any company would love that, okay? But they made $2 billion, but by the time the last movie came out, they only made half of that, okay? Because they alienated the actual core audience of what Star Wars was. They threw what Star Wars was out the window. Not because it was not because of, in their eyes, because we made a bad product. We made the writers bad. We made the plot points bad. The actual filming was bad. Okay? No. It's because of you. It's because of those YouTubers out there that why it failed. Okay? Not because of them making a poor product. So, let's continue now with Star Wars. Daisy Ridley has some thoughts on the hate. Okay? Star Wars actress Daisy said received hate from a vocal group of fans, okay, who took issue with Rey, and primary protagonist of Disney's sequel trilogy. Ridley recently commented negatively on how she responded in such vitriol. Okay, the Star Wars sequel trilogy introduced Rey as an orphan abandoned and her parents as a young child on the desert planet of Jakku, making the living and scavenging. Rey eventually swept into the conflict between the Resistance and the First Order and Remnant in the fallen galactic empire. Rey discovers that she's also exceptional in the Force sensitive. Okay, and by the end of the trilogy, she hauls the Resistance defeat of the New Order and comments on herself restarting the New Jedi Order. While Rey has also had several fans from the descent of characters, often the reasons of the vocalization of their opinions online. Now, during an interview with Premiere, translated in Google Translate, Ridley was asked if she felt violent reactions to Rey, and she said, no. I know that some people have expressed themselves negatively, but I don't pay attention to it, Ridley said, because it doesn't really concern me. I can't change the way some men see women. Now, obviously, I hate the fact that because of very few people, right? Now, she did say few men, which is fine. But the article is saying that men. And she's like, well, no, it's not all men. It's some men see women, okay? But it also goes the opposite way, right? Some women see men that they're just terrible people, okay? So unfortunately, that's how society works. Ridley said she explains how she's chosen to respond to the hate from Star Wars. Overall, it's been very well received. I made the choice to focus on all the positive, okay? While there also may be responsible for criticism on Rey, such as the last-minute decision to change Rey's lineage, also many of these are arguably are attributed to the writing and Ridley herself, and not Ridley herself. So even so, the rational criticism of the character was drowned out by the blatantly misogynistic attitude of some fans. Most notably, Rey was also accused of being a Mary Sue. The monarch are given by characters who are also simple as terms, display exceptional powers or skills without much training or lack the weakness or flaws. The problem with the labeling of Rey as the Mary Sue is the initial powerful characters are also stable in Star Wars franchise, particularly the Luke Skywalker saga. Anakin Skywalker's gifts were accepted because he was the chosen one, and fans arbitrary Luke Skywalker's ability to master the Force in a little train to also his lineage. Well, first of all, Anakin Skywalker was born that way, right? They're all born that way, but he literally trained from 8 years old to become, and because he wasn't trained correctly, his power was misused, okay? So, but he trained for what, 10, 12 years? By the time he became Darth Vader, Rey had what, 6 weeks? Right? Again, now Luke Skywalker, again, didn't train, but he's lineage of the most powerful person in the story that they're telling us, by the way, of Anakin Skywalker, right? Where Princess Leia didn't show any signs, okay? And Luke did. They thought he was the chosen one because Just that's the story, what it is. But he's also the lineage. She's not. She's just a random person, okay, given the powers, which they didn't know the script. They didn't know the story as they were going. These are in interviews with her, by the way, where J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson, they didn't know what they were writing until it was, like, they didn't even connect to each other. Like, one movie didn't connect to the next movie, that didn't connect to the next movie. They all just kind of, I'll just write how I feel, okay? So, it says, the ability to the Force a little trained to his lineage. Rey, on the other hand, was not afforded this benefit to receive hate for the reason that it could also apply to Skywalkers. Okay. Again, I'm trying to come up with an analogy here. Why is I don't want to do this because it gets into people's religion or whatnot, but why is Jesus Christ so powerful? Because of the story that's being told, right? At the bare necessities, right? But why is he the way he is? Because of his father, right? You know what I mean? Like, that's what it is. It's the story that's being told. That's why we accept for what it is. But what about if we made another story where someone else came in and was just as powerful as that person? We'd be like, well, no, he's not as good as this person, right? Like, and that's what it is. Okay, that's the problem. Okay, so such hate is uncommon with Star Wars community. Star Wars actors John Boyega, okay, received racist attacks. Everyone thought that John Boyega, when he first popped up as a stormtrooper, we were like, oh, this is interesting. Okay, no one was like, black guy stormtrooper. Oh man, this is gonna be bad. We were like, oh man, this is interesting. It's a stormtrooper. Is he? And then you see him holding the lightsaber. We're like, oh shit, right? So then we start thinking, we're like, is he Lando's kid? Right? Is he Mace Windu's kid? Right? We start piecing things together because we're like, well, grandkid, what's happening here? Who is this character? Okay, right? All of a sudden, in the second movie, he became a laughing stock because they made him a bumbling fool. All he did was yell, Rey, Rey, right? So he gets racist attacks. How about he gets attacked just because he didn't get attacked? The character and the writers were like, what did you do to this character? Okay. So Kelly Marie Tran and a few could also vitriol hurled towards them, met best at the much character of Jar Jar Binks. Okay. Again, Jar Jar was hated. It just so happened that he was the voice of it, and he did get hated. Look, this is going to happen. Right now, there's someone typing in, hey, Baldy, or whatever. Right? Am I supposed to go cry in a corner? I don't care. Okay? So, such hate is uncommon within the Star Wars community. Okay? So, who's expressed their love for the characters, and there's often spoken out against the aforementioned instances of hate. It's unfortunate that they have to, and perhaps there's a silver lining here to be found in the fact that many of the Star Wars communities will look out for each other. Yeah, because everyone in the Star Wars community has always been really nice. You go to the conventions, but these people wouldn't know that, right? When you go to the conventions, I used to get my ass kicked because I like Star Wars. And now I'm getting shit on because I'm disappointed in my Star Wars. So you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. I used to get my ass kicked because I like Star Wars, and then I'm getting picked on because I don't like Star Wars? Wait a minute. I'm very confused as a white male, 46 years old, okay, that I used to get picked on because I like Star Wars, and now I get picked on because I don't like Star Wars. Man, how the tables have turned. Okay, so again, we don't like Star Wars, and the brand is damaged. Obviously it is, okay, because the people that funded it, the people that bought lightsabers. Hey, this is Cal Kestis' lightsaber. Make wood things of X-Wings and Legos and all these other things, okay? I'm the hater. I'm the person that spent thousands, tens of thousands, watched thousands of hours of Star Wars, okay? Yet I'm the person that's hated on now because I'm giving criticism to a franchise that I loved, okay? And yet Disney has shit on the brand 100% because before, Star Wars was for everybody. But now the Force is female. Now it's because we're hated on by whoever, okay? Which is just absolutely stupid, okay? The games are failing. The shows are failing. The movies are gone. The comic books don't sell. Toys sit on the shelf. But yet, I'm the problem. A white male that's racist, sexist, misogynistic, okay? Because I don't like your writing. Because I don't like the way you're filming. Because of my opinion that I don't like what you're making for the fans of Star Wars. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. What do you think about Star Wars, the brand in general? Is it done? Can they make a comeback? Or is it just an afterthought? Let me know in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. Rod says, this drama never happens with Star Trek. Did you miss the whole thing about Picard season 1? Did you miss that? Let's see what you guys are saying. Krebsy says, fuck the Skywalkers. Don't need them. Star Wars to be good, like Space Marines doesn't need to exist in 40K to be good. Those are two different things. Two different things. Literally, one was made around a character and the family. This is from the actual creator of Star Wars, and that's why that's a bad example. I agree you don't have to tell all the stories from Skywalker, but if you're going to tell them from the original trilogy, then you have to. Especially, you didn't have to connect it. You didn't have to connect it, but they did. Robert Jones says, in other Star Wars news, I watched the first 2 or 3 episodes of Acolyte and thought it was okay so far. Did you get to the birthday episode, Jones? I don't know which one it is. Did you get to the one with Kiadi-Mundi? Where he's not even supposed to be alive? Get to that one yet? Disney Plus, $1.99 for 3 months. Uh-oh, don't eat anywhere or die. Because you will not be able to sue. Eclipse says, yeah, the fact that the person that he just picks up a lightsaber can be the person that's also been trained his whole life by Luke Skywalker is called bad writing. Eclipse also says, yeah, I was so excited to see where his story goes, and then they screwed him over so bad. So bad. So bad. That, Captain Phasma? Right? Nobody cared that Captain Phasma was a girl. Like, you brought this badass-looking stormtrooper in. You did nothing with her. You did nothing with her. Is that because I'm sexist and racist? Or is that because you had bad writing and characters you didn't know what to do with? Z says, what the fuck? The glare off the dome is why I'm here. You are welcome, sir. You are welcome. Titan says, sad Disney made people hate Skywalker. Couldn't be the way. Well, Mark Hamill's done that for himself in the real. I can separate the actor from the character, but he's destroying Skywalker even more. I don't think Robot Chicken is going. There were so many wasted characters. Poe's character, right? Poe's character was wasted, especially in the last movie. John Boyega's character of Finn was wasted in the whole series. Okay, the writing was wasted. Okay, look, I would have been okay. Okay, here's the things I would have taken. Obviously, before the movie was even made for The Force Awakens, we would have taken that Daisy Ridley was Luke or Leia's like child, right? Like either Luke's child with Mara Jade, right? And you could have had a whole backstory there, right? Because 30 years passed, right? So you could have had the other stories of Luke and Mara Jade together. Then they had a kid. Then to protect her, they dropped her off on Jakku. And then she didn't know who her father was because it was very young, right, to save her. Okay? Then something happened to maybe the guardian that was protecting her on Jakku, and then she's left off on her own. Okay? And then it could have came all back around that later, that when she sees Luke Skywalker, she finds out that Luke is her father, okay, after he trains her and whatnot, and then finds out that you are my father, right? They could have done something along the lines of, while they're fighting or while they're doing whatever, instead of Darth Vader saying to Luke, I am your father, okay, you could have had, right? You could have had Daisy Ridley with Rey say, I am your daughter, right? In that some sort of way, and would have been like, and it would have been cool, because then Luke would have been like, no, that's impossible, right? In the same type of way, because just like he didn't know that was his bad guy was a father, now he doesn't know that she is his daughter, right? That's one way you could have spun it. Another way is that Luke maybe had so much pressure, and Obi-Wan and the Queen had a kid, which would make her why she has a British accent, galaxy far, far away, okay? And Obi-Wan, it could have been his daughter, granddaughter, something along those lines, okay? And then Luke was protecting her, okay, but failed because he didn't want the pressure of whatever, okay? You could have had a whole backstory of that. She could have been Leia and Han's daughter. That's why she knew so much about the mechanics and stuff like that. And since Han Solo was a deadbeat dad anyway, right? You could have also had the story where Kylo and Rey were siblings, but they were separated because just like they were separated because of Leia and Luke when they were separated, because she didn't want the bad guys to get a hold of them, okay? So they had to separate them, and then Ben turned to the dark side, and they wanted to make sure that the other one didn't, right? There could have been a whole shit ton of stuff, and they did none of it. None of it. It was the most meal piece of shit I've ever seen. Waste. Damn, Luke had a kid that old? Well, it would have been very simple. Obviously, Titan. 18 years, Mara Jade and Luke after Return of the Jedi, halfway through, because she was like 18, I think, in the movie. Okay, so they could have had adventures, right? Then they got pregnant and they had a baby and they had to get rid of it, and then that would take place 18 years after, right? Just like Mando takes place 5 years after Empire Strikes Back or whatnot, right? Obviously, you wouldn't have, right? But easily, she could have been his daughter. Easily could have been his daughter. But they didn't want to do that because they're like, oh, that's too easy to figure out. We have to subvert your expectations. She's nobody. Her father was a drunk. Oh, wait, we changed it now. Her father was Emperor Palpatine's son, who was nobody. He was a drunk, and this is her grandpappy. That's not the problem. The lightsaber is not the problem. Her picking up a lightsaber is not the issue, right? She fights with the staff. That's not the problem. It's the Force. It's the how fast she picks up the Force. Being a nobody. In writing, you look at Luke differently than Rey because she's not attached. So as the movie's progressing, she's not attached to anybody. At the last second, they have to bring back the Emperor, right? And then attach her to the Emperor, right? And the Emperor's son was nobody, but it skipped a generation and went to her, right? Which they didn't know they were doing literally until months before that movie was made because of the other two shit stains that they made with 7 and 8. It's bad. So my whole thing is that the Star Wars brand is just busted. It's done, right? They made a hotel that can't sell. Okay, there's just things that are not selling. You can go to any toy store right now, any toy store, right? And so if you're saying that all of these things are not selling, you're saying that the majority of your population that likes Star Wars are all racist, sexist, and misogynistic, right? Everybody. Because the people that are not, in their viewpoint, is that they're not buying toys. So who's buying all these toys? So everybody, the entire time of Star Wars, they're all racist, sexist, and misogynistics. They hate women. Okay. And those are the people that bought all the toys over the years to make it a $4 billion company. And yet now, the people that you're marketing towards don't buy your toys. Don't buy your bed sheets. Don't buy your shirts. Don't watch your movies. They don't watch your shows. Okay. How's that possible? You know who's racist in all this? You know who's racist in all this? The companies. Okay. The companies are racist, misogynistic. Okay. They hate their fan base. They hate their fan base. I'm sure people buying the original toys, but Rose has got that sit on the shelf. There's so many toys on the shelf, and you just look at it, and I'm just like, nobody's buying it. Nobody's buying it. No one's buying the comics. No one's buying the new books. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of people that are not buying this stuff. They can't all be racist, sexist, and misogynistic. Could it be that the product is bad? Could it be that the writing and the product is bad, and that's why people are not buying it? Ron says, we need a Star Wars 5v5 live service hero shooter that costs $40. You have one. You have one. It's actually lasted more than 13 days. It's called Bounty Hunters, Ron. It's a mobile game. I think it's coming to Switch, or it's on the Switch now, right? It's a 5v5 hero shooter. And I think it costs $40. Actually, it might be free to play. Might be free to play. It's lasted longer. I mean, here, look at this. Right? Even the prequels, people hated. Right? They hated the prequels. We'll see in a second. Right? Look, people, 86 to 64. Right? Andor, 96 to 87. Right? People like that, but it very, very poorly because people are like tired of it. It's the solo effect type of thing. Obi-Wan, 82-61. Boba Fett, 66-49. Visions, 98-64. Okay? Bad Batch, 88-84. Right? Fans loved Rise of Skywalker, 86, but the reviewers, they hated it, 51. They must have been racist. Sexists. Okay? Okay? Mandalorian, 90-78. Right? This is the worst show by fans. And look, see, the reviewers loved it. 92-45. Solo, 69-63. Right? The Last Jedi, 91-41. Right? Rogue One, 84-87. Star Wars Force Awakens, 93-84. Right? That was the beginning. Right? Rebels, 98-84. Star Wars Clone Wars, 93-91. The original Clone Wars back in 2008, the shorts, 19. Oh, those sexist, racist journalists. And 40%. Okay? Revenge of the Sith, 79-66. Okay? The other Clone Wars. Okay? Attack of the Clones, 65-56. Episode 1, 52-59. Look at all those racists. Right? Return of the Jedi, 82-94. Empire Strikes Back, 95-97. New Hope, 93-96. Look at all these people. Right? Both sides liked it. What happened? What happened? There's a hand-picked few. Is it possible to do a massive reboot for Star Wars? If you do a massive reboot for Star Wars, I think you gotta start clean, and you have to, like, when you say reboot, are you saying take the original story and reboot it as is, or are they rebooting it instead of Luke, it's Leia? Right? Do they just redo the story as is, or do they redo it and tell it in a different way? I think you got to wait longer than 10 years, Jason. I think you got to wait longer than 10 years. Definitely need a Leia only reboot. I think if they, I would like to see the animated stuff. Tell the same story but really cool animated, right? Sort of like a what's that Netflix one? Arcane? Like a style like that, right? But with Star Wars. Like make it mature. Make it mature. And then just do voiceovers. Because in that form, the way they use the Force and the way they do different things, it makes it more believable because it's not live action, if that makes sense, right? I personally think that the 7, 8, and 9 could have worked if they didn't connect it to the original. Just tell your own story, okay? Just tell your own story. Instead of making it 30 years, you could have made it like 100 years in the future. But because they connect it, they fucked it up. Jones says, I feel like you're more free to tell stories if it's not live action. Yeah. I think that's why Clone Wars that's why I like Clone Wars a lot. Bad Batch, really good show. Right? Season 1, 2, and so far halfway through 3. Good. Okay. Clone Wars, Bad Batch, Rebels, I like those a lot more for the Star Wars because they can tell more stories. It's not as, you don't have to hold it down to ground it in like reality type of stuff, you know? Z says, from R2-D2's point of view, just standing there listening to everybody and the camera's spinning in left and right. Well, technically, the story of this is being told by R2-D2 and C-3PO. Did you hear they're doing a Cal Kestis series on Disney Plus, and they're also out of ideas? They got to do a game. They're bankrupt. I mean, you could tell stories between Survivor or take it after Survivor. I guess they could do that. But did they link it to the third trilogy of the game? Salty says, well, they did do a Leia and Luke breakout scene animated, and Luke was an idiot, and Leia was a badass. Of course. That's what I hear, Ron. I hear that the animated Transformers 1 was actually really good. We might go watch it this weekend. I think a lot of adults, though, they look at it and go, well, the animated for kids. I've seen some really graphical animated shows. You know what I mean? I think you can make an adult, kid and adult-esque, but animated. I think it'd be cool. And I think what you could do with the animated is that you can build up the fans again, right? You can build it up again where, sure, as an adult, I look at it and go, it's not my Star Wars. But if they reboot it, if they redo it, tell a different story, go to the Old Republic or something, I don't know. They can do what they want with it. It's people have a problem because the main story came out and then they changed it over time and then they're shitting on all the characters, like literally going down the line, right? They shit on Luke, they shit on Han, they shit on Leia, they shit on Boba Fett, they shit on Obi-Wan, right? They just keep going down the line. They're like, how do we and I don't know if this is real or not. I'm just speculating. I want to know if there's a way that they're not allowed to touch George's stuff, and this is why they're killing them off, right? They can't add to it, so they just have to use them in a different format and just trying to destroy them so they can have a clean slate. I wonder if that's something that was on the dotted line. I would love to know that. I know that they can't touch certain things, but when they bring them into the future, I think they just want to kill them off so they don't have to worry about it. Oh yeah, Optimus Prime when he died, I was like, what the? I was so devastated back then. So devastated. And then when they made the new cartoon afterwards and he was dead, right? And Rodimus Prime was there, or Hot Rod, I should say. I was upset. I was like, I don't know if I can watch Transformers anymore. And so much so that people stopped watching Transformers. And then they brought him back. Travis says, did you hear that George broke down and admitted that he hates Kathleen Kennedy now? No, I did not hear that. Where's that at? Well, that's the whole thing, Travis, right? Right? Is the things failing because of all the stuff that they say is because of it's failing, or is it because the product itself is bad? The writing, the art design, the storytelling, the directing, right? Is that why? Regardless on who wants to make videos on what, right? If it's because of the DEI, or it's because it's someone's sexist or racist, or it's because they're incompetent at the company, okay? It comes down to things work or don't work because it's a good story. And when people see the same thing over and over and over, like what they did with Star Wars, they were like, I don't want to watch Han Solo, right? And Solo gets hurt, even though Solo wasn't that bad, right? Solo gets hurt because it's in the realm, I got burnt, I'm going to wait. I'm not watching the next thing, right? Same with Andor, right? Everyone was happy with Mando. Then they were sad about Boba Fett. They were sad about Obi-Wan. And they're like, Andor, like, nah, I'm good. I don't need to watch this. Bron says, make a good Disney Plus show, sell a good Disney Plus show. They're raising the price again. People are gonna leave that platform super fast. We have ours for a couple more months because we paid like a package thing, but we're not gonna renew after that. Back in the day when things didn't work out, right? They canceled the show. Nobody ever said the show got canceled because you don't like straight people, or you don't like gay people, or you don't like women, or you don't like men, right? They just canceled the show. Why? Because nobody cared about it. Nobody liked it. For whatever reason. The acting, the storytelling, right? They just didn't like the characters, whatever. Now, when something fails, it's never their fault. It's always ours. me see, I just found another article. It's about Starfield. Paul Tasky wrote an article. Starfield Shattered Space Review. One tiny step for man. Yeah, but those examples, Krebsy, you said showing a good established universe is one that it can exist beyond without the group of people. Marvel can exist beyond the Avengers. That's because of good writing and good character building. Okay, Lord of the Rings, right, and The Hobbit, they're still connected. The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings are connected. Still the same story. And the same with the Skywalkers, right? They're the same story. So Marvel, right, when they tell their stories, they're all connected in the Marvel universe. Sure, they have all their own stories and whatnot, okay? But an Iron Man story is Iron Man. And if you tell something and bring Iron Man in, it connects it to Iron Man's story, right? You could tell a different story completely off the continent or whatever else, right? They're still underneath the umbrella of Star Wars or Marvel or Lord of the Rings, but all the Marvel characters are connected. All the Lord of the Rings characters are all connected. All the Star Wars characters are all connected. Superheroes have superpowers. Lord of the Rings, they have powers and whatever, with wizards and rings. And then you have Skywalkers or Star Wars with lightsabers and force abilities. They're all connected. Yeah, the Avengers can... Well, Marvel can exist without the Avengers, sure. You can just tell different stories, but if you bring those people in any way, shape, or form, if they make a... Right, like X-Men can live on their own, but if Wolverine shows up with Spider-Man, then they're connected in that universe. I have not seen the new Marvel X comic. Like, for instance, Transformers. You could tell plenty of stories with Transformers, but it always comes back to Autobots and Decepticons. They try to tell stories in the past with other characters, but Optimus Prime and Megatron are the ones that people care about. Connected doesn't mean needed. There hasn't been a Star Wars project without a Skywalker. What do you mean? Rogue One. Oh, well, I guess they had Darth Vader at the end there. For the last, 30 seconds of the film. Han Solo, they had Darth Maul. That didn't have a Skywalker in it. Andor. Did Andor have a Skywalker in it? I don't think so. Rebels. Rebels didn't have a... Well, they showed Darth Vader, end of season 2. Titan says, Acolyte, checkmate. I mean, technically, Jedi Survivor, Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor, I mean, they put Vader in there at the end. But the character itself sits on its own. Now we're being pedantic? No, I'm not. I'm giving you examples of what it is. There's plenty of stories without the Skywalkers. There's a whole fucking MMO. without Skywalkers. Knights of the Old Republic. Get out of here with this pedantic shit. Use big words like that in Lono's channel. Clip says, I mean, I'll buy it if it's a good game. Yeah, imagine that. I think the next Rocksteady game, if it's a Batman game, is going to fail. Because people are going to say it's not the Batman game they wanted. Whatever Batman it is. Could be Batman Beyond, and they'll be like, that's not the game we wanted. Could be Batman in the past, it's not the game we wanted. They're putting, like, massive, massive pressure on him, and it's not the same Rocksteady. Right. Batman is the only character in DC. Someone put it, I think it was Sadat. Sadat put a thing up a couple days ago, last week, where video games like 26, and it was like two or three for Superman and like one for Wonder Woman. Oh, I agree, Chris, but what I'm saying is they can make whatever they can make, whatever they want to make with Star Wars, just take it and put it away from what we know. Just don't connect it. Just take it and put it so far away. 1,000, 2,000 years, right? Like they could have taken the Acolyte and made it 1,000 years before, and they could have told the story. Right? But nope. They took a line from a guy that said, hasn't been down for a millennia. Right? And they put that guy in the show, changed his birthday, changed his actual, like, supposed to be like 60 years later. Okay? And they put him in the show, and they talk about something that's 100 years instead of 1,000 years. Like, take it and put it. Get out of here. Clip says, yeah, I wish I heard 1,000 Stars Studio was making it instead of Rocksteady. That would make me excited. I think I was listening to Sadat and Jay Shockblast the other day, and Sadat said something interesting because he said he put out a tweet. I don't know what tweet he put out, but he put out a tweet, and I think was it 1,000 Star, 100 Star Studios commented. So I don't know if they're working on a game, if they're working on something. He said he thought it was interesting, though, that they commented on his comment. Sarge says they could have done such a great Batman game where you actually solve crimes, lead up to the villain, and also don't know at all if they have to figure it out or who is before some kind of doomsday event. I think Gotham Knights was done really well, and their whole like go out and get crime in them at night was really cool. But they baffled that game because it seemed like it was supposed to be a live service game. Then they changed it, and they just stopped supporting it because it didn't sell well. That's because they also marketed that game with Gay Robin, and I forget what else they were pushing during that time frame. And everyone shed on it because it was 30 frames per second. Salty says they had Darth Plagueis suckling in a cave. Well, you don't know if that was him, Salty. How would you know If you're a brand new person that's never watched Star Wars before, how would you know that was Plagueis in the cave? Did they say it was? And I think right there that just shows you that you have no idea who the fuck that is. Like, what is that person? Who is that person? Right? The writing is terrible. Rokill says, I just bought all Batman Arkham games. I've never played them. So pretty excited for... I would hope that's not $499 for the whole collection. I hope that's $4.99. I hope you didn't purchase all 3 of those games or all 4 of those games for $4.99. Because that is not a good deal if you bought them for $499. I bought these things for the price of a PlayStation. Like, not good. $4.99. Gotcha. Not $4.99. $4.99. He's like, I would give you $4.99, but I'm going to give you $499. They're great. They're great. My only complaint about the old games, Roadkill, is that the X-ray vision that you have in that game, you're in that for so long when you're like sneaking around and seeing where the bad guys are. I was so pissed. I was like, this game is beautiful looking, especially at the time. And I was like, holy shit. I was like, why am I always in this? Like, everything's black and white. What was that sound? The sub? Nothing's showing up. He says this is the way. $4.99 for games that are complete polished versions of all 3. Right, imagine that. I mean, obviously, it's like 15 years total later, but $4.99? It's crazy. Dolphins super far behind. Oh, yeah. You know, the Joker, the whole story and whatever else is just... It's a good game. Mechanics, story, graphics, everything about it is a fantastic game. And you played Spider-Man 2, right, Roadkill? You played the Spider-Man games 1 and 2? I'm having a great time with the Joker. Looks awesome. Rocksteady should just remake the Arkham games like Naughty Dog. They want to make money back. Yeah, I guess. $499. Gotham Knights is actually a really fun game. It's really good. The story's good. Oh, yeah. You could be Catwoman. Yep, and Robin. Or Nightwing. So when you played... Okay, so you played Spider-Man first. So now when you play the Batman games, you'll be like, oh. I was like, no wonder people were comparing Spider-Man to Batman. Yeah, the fighting, the way you fight in Spider-Man is like how you do the combos and stuff inside of Batman. Dolphin says, why are you not playing the new SBI DLC for Suicide Squad? I have no interest. And I have plenty of room on my hard drive. Because Sarge gave me a hard drive to put on the back of my Xbox. And I have no interest whatsoever. I blinked for a second. I was like, maybe I'll do it. And I was like, nah, I'll play other games. I'm good. I'll wait for the whole thing to come out. And once they add the offline mode, maybe I'll jump back in then. Maybe when they put Deadshot in? Maybe. Mike, check out the Game Chops for streams background music. Let's see what you think. It's called Game Chops. Is it music that's able to stream in the background so I don't get taken down? Game Chops listener-funded record label. Providing you the artists, we create better music. Plus remix albums, singles, sold. Our music is free to use and credit to the musician and a link back to its website or album you used. Oh, so you got to put it. Credits and copyright. The album is also displayed in the Game Chops artist tag or logo. I'll look at it later. It's not going to be the real Deadshot. It's going to be his daughter. Well, that's who this is now. She's his daughter now. So you're saying that the Deadshot that comes in is going to be his daughter again? I still have my free token battle pass as well. Yeah, Eclipse. Oh, Deathstroke. Right, that's who I'm thinking of. Deadshot's already in the game. Right. Deathstroke. Yeah. It's all right. It's got some bangers. I've watched somebody who's using it. All right, I'll check it out. I went back and played was it last week and 2 weeks ago. I went back to my save for Mass Effect Andromeda. And I liked a lot of the stuff in that game, but man, that main story sucked as well. The main story was like as bad as Starfield's main story. No, I think Deathstroke, when he comes in, is gonna be the one that was from the old Batman games. Because when you're playing the game, you find audio logs talking about how the death he's the real one and there's like a fake one and he's trying to figure out who it is. Is Deathstroke coming in, or I'm so confused now. Honestly, I don't even give a shit. Deathstroke's the last character. But Deadshot's trying to find out who the other one is, because in the last Batman game, they had a different Deadshot. That's where I'm getting confused. Deathshot and Deathstroke. Right, because in Suicide Squad, he's trying to figure out the other guy. Because in the audio logs, it talks about it. Unless we get seasons. I couldn't say it with a straight face. Well, they're gonna finish, I think, 5, I believe. I think they have to. Because right now you're saving Green Lantern. You saved Flash last one, Green Lantern this one, Batman's the next one. Right? And then it would be Superman. But they showed the Arkham multiverse worlds. I thought Arkham was coming out this season 2 of this one. Part 2 of the one that's coming out right now. I'm pretty sure Arkham is popping into this one, isn't it? Do they do the roadmap here in this one? Look at this. Look how bad. I've never seen so many. Like, the guns are awesome, right? The guns are awesome looking. So here's a character. Okay, I haven't even seen any gameplay from her, by the way. Haven't seen any gameplay from her yet. It's like a wall of text. I don't even want to read it. Okay. The guns look cool, right? Hey, this is Catwoman stuff. Okay. These things look cool. Look at the cosmetics. That one is probably the best one. Yeah, see, Gotham awaits. But they show the Arkham multiverse world, so because not come yet, it's obviously comes with Death. So are they not? So they're bringing in Gotham City in this, but they're bringing the multiverse in the last season. Yeah, this looks like the Handsome Jack. Yeah. Where it's all stitched on. Yeah, not very many people are playing that. I would assume that game's going to come out maybe this holiday, if not right before the last season that'll be on Game Pass. They'll just drop it. They'll be like, here you go, like the 1 year anniversary. So the last season will be before or after it drops on Game Pass. So they'll announce it. Again, prediction. They'll announce it, they'll drop it on Game Pass, and then the final season will come out. There's talks that they want to do Injustice 3, Travis. Because no one's playing the game. No one's playing Suicide Squad. I think on Steam there's like less than 300 people. We're talking less than Concord numbers now. Okay, they're struggling. They are struggling to get people to come back and play this game. They don't care though. They've already, and people already paid, right? People already paid the full price of the $120 version or whatever the fuck it was to get everything. Right? We're all waiting for a year to come out before all the stuff comes out. All right. Let's see what we got going on here real fast. If there's any quick stories we can say. Starship Troopers comes out on the 11th. Dune Awakening closed beta giveaway. 30 minutes ago, they posted something. Now's your chance to participate in the Dune Awakening closed beta. And click on the survey. Here, hold on, let me see. Here, I'll post this in the chat for you guys. Why won't it? Oh. Put in the wrong thing. Go. Anyone that wants to try to sign up for the closed beta, there you go. Did you think we'll ever see a Pal World Mobile with the lawsuit? I mean, I knew they were working on the mobile. We talked about that a couple months ago. They were in talks. I didn't think we were going to see it, but now it makes sense because if you think about it, maybe they're like, well, if we put it out there, we can make more money. New patch for Towerborn came out yesterday, I think. Got the Incredibles inside of Fortnite. The hell is happening there? I'm scrolling through Twitter. I don't do it online on screen because you never know what you're gonna get. Like a box of chocolates. Yeah, nothing too much here. Little things here and there. The Predator, the Predator hunting grounds is coming out everywhere now. That was just a Sony game, wasn't it? Wasn't the Predator hunting grounds just on PlayStation and PC, and now it's coming to Xbox? That was a Sony published game, wasn't it? It was. Is it still a Sony? Platforms, Entertainment, Predator Hunting Grounds 2020 multiplayer video game developed by Phonic, published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. Interesting. So it went back to Phonic, so Phonic's publishing it themselves now. So Sony was the publishers, but they're not the publishers anymore. Is that what it is? We covered this in Discord a week ago. I didn't. Did I respond in any way, shape, or form? If I did, I must have blacked out. I don't remember. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of stuff that happens on Twitter, Dolphin. Definitely not safe for work. Or safe for public, even. Yeah, but Krebsy, when you say we covered it in Discord a week ago, you could have just said, yes, the devs are self-publishing now. That's all you had to say. My question was, are they self-publishers? They're like, yes, we covered this in Discord a week ago. Guess that's it then. Phonic, before they moved over to Ghostbusters, owned it for like, was it $3? They're making actually some pretty good games over at Phonic. They got that license going on with all these IPs. I like the Ghostbusters one. I don't like the way it's how to progress the story. It's like you got to get to this level before the next story beat happens. But I guess it's the same. It's like story beat when you hit a certain level, or go do a mission and come back and do this. It's the same thing. Yeah, I like RoboCop. Can you believe it's been a year? Can you believe it's been a year, Travis, since I played that? Right? Did it come out in October? Oh, November. November 2nd. Not a year yet. Not a year yet. We're 1 month away. It's been 11 months since we played it. That's crazy. That's going to do it for me. I appreciate you guys coming out, hanging out with us. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Tonight, we'll be playing some more Borderlands 2. We'll probably finish out the campaign tonight with Sarge. And I think Akuta Papa might be joining us, or Kylo, or anybody else. First come, first serve. Whoever wants to play with us, you're more than welcome to jump in. Appreciate it very much. You guys have a great rest of your day, afternoon, or evening, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.